Hey, Darnell with D Grill here. Going to be cooking up about 2.5 pounds of baby back ribs on my rotisserie on my Weber Genesis 2 E310 propane gas grill. So let's get started. Alright, and the ingredients for this cook are pretty simple. They've got the ribs. I'm going to be trimming the fat off here. And then I'm going to get a knife under here, get the membrane from up off the back here. Then I'm going to coat them with some yellow mustard, a light coat of mustard. And then I'm going to be applying my seasoning, this Twisted Q Crook Pig seasoning, very good seasoning. And so I'm going to get these ribs prepared, and then I'll bring you back after I got them trimmed and coated and such. Okay, so after I started to try and trim those ribs, I found there wasn't too much membrane on the back, and the top side didn't have too much fat either, so I didn't do much in the way of trimming at all on these ribs. But now it's time to get them on the rotisserie stick. So I'm going to have to basically do kind of like a stick it in Z shape, Z or S shape, kind of sticking and twisting. So stick it in here, then I kind of get a twist on them, stick it through there, do one more twist on them, stick it through there. I'm going to take this part and I'm going to slide this whole thing down. And take this part here and just try and get it through a good piece of meat like that. Try and get that up through there, through the spit. I'm going to get my other spit on. Make sure it's good. Nope. Alright, just to show you the grill setup I'm working with here on my Weber Genesis 2 E310 propane gas grill. I've got a iGrill 3 ambient probe up here in the back, but I learned from my cook of the 2 chickens that's way off. I mean, that's going to be way higher than the actual temp. So really the hood temp when you're using a rotisserie and you got the ambient probe set up kind of awkward like this, the hood temp is going to be the more reliable measure of temperature than the iGrill 3 meat probe. I mean the iGrill 3 ambient probe. But the ambient probe works fairly well when you have the warming rack up and you're doing other smoking and whatnot like that. But I've got a very large cook pan here, and I'm just going to get things fired up on the grill. So that's burner 1, burner 2, burner 3. I'm going to start warming up. I'm going to be cooking these ribs on the rotisserie at 300 degrees even. So I'm going to try and get that hood temp up to about the 300 and try and keep it there. I expect this may take just a few hours. So I'm going to let them just spin on that rotisserie without touching a thing for 3 hours. And then I'm going to check their temperature. It is a pretty chilly night, or it's starting to get chilly night. It's like very close to dark now. And the current temperature is 55 degrees, real feels 58 degrees, humidity 27%, 0 wind, very good. And basically the hourly forecast though is what's the tricky part here, because by let's say 9 o'clock, it's like 8 minutes to 6 now, but by 9 o'clock when these are about done, it's going to be just down like maybe 40 degrees. One other forecast I looked at said about 38 degrees. So basically once things get nice and warmed up, going to bring you back and we can put those ribs on the rotisserie. Come in with the ribs. Alright. Set those down there. Get things opened up. I will say I adjusted the spit a little bit to get the meat, get further into the meat there on that other side. I'm trying to make sure I got at least 2 spits going through the ends of the meat and get this on the rotisserie. Let's get going now. Alright, got them spinning. All is well. Gonna just leave it for 3 hours. Just play with the dials to keep them running and at 300 degrees. And come back in about 3 hours. Oops, hit the camera. Yeah, they're still spinning. And here we are, 3 hours later. It's about 41 degrees outside now. I did have to turn off that metal dial because definitely wasn't able to keep things down to 300 with all 3 burning. So had to kill the middle dial. And basically once you get the dials to a right temp for a cook, I mean even as the temperatures drop, it's still been holding right around 300 on the dial here. I mean it's like maybe 315 or maybe closer to 325 or so now. Maybe it's gone up to about 325, but it's been holding pretty steady. You know, it's like with the Weber grills, once you get temp locked in with your dial settings, it usually can hold pretty well after that preheat. But it's been about 3 hours, so gonna open it up for the first time, test temp, have a look. Alright, I think these are going to be really done. That meat probe slides right in there like butter. We'll see the temperature rise, see where it goes. I'm going to actually close it up, it's so cool out here. I don't want that to adversely affect the temperature reading. It's up to 160s to 170s. It's still rolling. I think we're going to get well past 190 at this rate. It's telling me it's done. So, okay. I'm going to turn the iGrill off. It's gone up into the 200 range before it shut down. So they were well cooked. The only downside to rotisserie is not being able to check the temp all the time. I hope the folks at Weber are working on a solution for that. Maybe it'll make an iGrill 3 rotisserie bar. I'm going to get these off. We'll go in, do a look at them inside, and taste test. Alright, so the ribs are definitely, without a doubt, overdone. Probably should have checked them after 2 hours instead of waiting just 3 hours without touching them. But they're kind of fused to the rotisserie sticks there, to the spits, and so I had to kind of break the meat off a little bit. The meat's still good inside though. I mean, it's good, well done meat inside. But I probably should have checked after an hour just to check, I mean after 2 hours, just to see the condition of things after 2 hours. So I'm going to have to do another another baby back ribs test, doing like 2 hours at 300, see what the results are. Then maybe if it's still not done, cook a little longer or something. But I will be doing another one again. I'm going to do a taste test of these though, because the meat in there is still good and moist from that self-basting and all. So let me set up for the taste test. Alright, so here are the completed baby back ribs. On the next cook, I'm going to try 2 hours, and if they're still too dry, then I'll resort to things like spritzes and maybe spritzing them with apple juice every, 30 minutes or so. But I'd probably try one more without spritzing anything, just to see if I can get a good rotisserie rib without any special spraying on it. But here we go for our taste test. Definitely like a cross between ribs and bacon. But still edible meat at the, all the same. Still a good attempt. So I'll give it another go, trying it 2 hours at 300, then test and checking. And then after that, if that's not good to me, then I'll try something with the rotisserie and spritzing and spraying with apple juice and that type of good stuff. But one way or another, it will be perfected, Lord willing. So, want to try and do my own thing. I see what others have done, but that doesn't mean that I want to just go out and do what others have already done and, do it the same way. Try something new. But anyway, if you like the video, you can give it a thumbs up. You can share the video with your friends. Definitely you can and should subscribe to the channel. And good eating.